it's a newspaper. Like, this is the real deal. It kind of feels like it's just like a little trial run because it is a college newspaper, but like, this is a job.
The Marlin Chronicle is a space to uplift voices. It is the student newspaper for the Virginia Wesleyan, by students, for students. It's a space that celebrates the community just as much as it holds community members accountable.
The Marlin Chronicle is an entirely student-run, editorially independent media enterprise. And it's really so much more than a newspaper.
It aims to create a voice for the student body here and provide an accurate source of news for things happening on campus as well as off campus.
It's an outlet for students to express issues or things that they're feeling about campus.
We like to use it as a space that we can address issues and good things to the entire community.
The Marlin Chronicle is just like a space to create. It's like a voice for the community in a way that's not affiliated with the institution.
It gives students an opportunity to learn while also providing a valuable service to the campus community as a whole.
As a member of the Marlin Chronicle, yeah, you are the eyes and ears of the community, so don't take that lightly. If you have the opportunity to hear something that other people don't hear, then we could get a breaking news story.
Like, I don't know how to articulate that in words.
I know the completion rates were trending upwards. That is really interesting.
Is it?
Yeah.
You want to write about it?
I think someone should cover it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't disagree. I already have a link and everything.
I wonder if our rates are going up.
I was over there tweeting,
I
like,
know.
oh, we're gonna fill
Dude,
it. It has to be
you got it.
articles.
Yeah.
Who said that?
You want it?
Send it to me.
Write it.
Yeah, I wanted to
In the news section, I come up with a lot of ideas for global news that kind of reflect our university, if you put a magnifying glass to it, I like to say. For example, any political situation, as much as we don't enjoy talking about them, sometimes they need to be talked about. And any higher education effect that it may have is always, there's always a focus put on that.
So we use Coots. Well, now we're using Coots. Yeah, I don't know. I've never used it. But it's, hey, welcome.
What's happening in the world. But I just think Ethics Bowl is pretty interesting and not a lot of people know about it. The community section is really going to be covering what you can't ever find in another newspaper usually, like what's happening right on this campus. We basically try and find student, faculty, administration, employee perspectives at the university, anybody involved in our campus community on particular issues that are pertinent to our community. And I think, that's important that it gets covered so people can stay up to date on what's happening.
But thanks to all of you for coming and for being with us tonight.
We are at the Ethics Bowl demonstration. So our school has an Ethics Bowl team, and they're competing on Friday in the University of Richmond. So we're here for the demonstration today. Hi, can I ask you your question? This is a fairly new topic. So what are your opinions on it, and what do you think is why do you think it's important to address this topic in the Ethics Bowl? And, well, one question at a time.
Okay, so personally, I feel like AI should be like a calculator. It's a tool that you can use and it's helpful for sure, but it should not be something that you rely on. Like, before you use a calculator, you have to learn the formulas.
Right. That's great, thank you.
Emotional flag.
Yeah, but if you have a creative spark or something like that, I want you to let your...
My name is MJ. I'm the editor for the Weekender section, which in my opinion is one of the coolest. It tells you things that you can do outside of school. It allows you an entry point to the community outside of just the university. That's everything from movie reviews to restaurants to arcades to concerts, anything that you might want to do for fun. So this is a joint story with another writer. We're both going to various places in the 757 to review the new trend right now of Dubai chocolate. It's Coco's Korean fried chicken and croffles. They have a Dubai chocolate strawberry croffle, and also Dubai chocolate strawberries.
Dude.
I think so. Yeah. Yummy. The amalgamation of things that are on your menu, you said some of those came from like TikTok influence, and then what else? So like,
it was a restaurant that incorporated everything that I love to eat, like lumpia, pancit, Korean fried chicken, croffles, which nobody had at the time. You know, I really love TikTok.
Yeah.
I was on TikTok learning how to make Korean fried chicken, so Coco's was born.
Yeah.
This is the croffle.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Can you please? No, seriously, like I'm actually so serious. Can I have her number or something? Like,
Yeah, sure.
she went to Hoover. Okay, got you. So this is 4 people.
So what sports does is, sports. Like we report on, kind of how teams are doing, teams that have sucked and are now good, teams that are good and now suck. We also do we do features. We do features are more like when you're reporting on a specific person and just kind of telling their story, which I like to do more of those than like the, just reporting. I find them more interesting.
And I think I put that in there. Like, they're leaving these meetings, like the press and shit. They still want to be on the team, but they don't want to be back.
Sydney here is working on an article about the track coach that was just started last semester. There have been student complaints. The allegation on the table is that the school, and especially the athletic director, haven't addressed the reports in a reasonable and succinct way as required by the federal and state governments, as well as school policy.
Stuff carries around here. I got wind of the complaints and I offered them a platform to speak out. I was just like, hey, would you like to share your story? And the first athlete was like, hell yeah. And the more people that came to me, the more people came after them. It's hard for people to speak out because there's always going to be that backlash. And specifically for athletes, when you're speaking out against a coach who's mistreating you, your backlash is coming from people that you work with, like your teammates.
Okay, so would SGA be able to even hold an open forum for athletes who wanted to voice complaints? Is that on the? They could do that.
It's open to anybody and everybody. It's just
So they could even just hold a regular meeting and advertise the fact that it is in this specific time. They're specifically opening it up to athletes who can share their experiences.
But it's just gonna be the people who I've already interviewed, though, and I'm that's the problem.
It's not fair that something should happen to you and you should be able to speak out on it. So I think this story makes sure that those who are still involved get to speak out, and then those who aren't involved get to share their grievances that they felt weren't properly addressed by administration.
Have you had the chance to read the article about the athletics department in the previous issue?
About the track program?
Yes.
I have.
Did you have any comments or thoughts you would like to share?
I think it would be more appropriate for those that were directly involved to comment on it.
We have to just be careful with what we report on so that we're not wading in the waters of defamation.
The editorial independence of the Marlin Chronicle is an idea that is ever present in the decisions that the students are making.
We are a part of the school in terms of being a student organization, but in all other ways, we are our own independent entity.
It's entirely up to the student body, those of us in here and those of us out there, to determine what gets printed and what gets read.
Students learn more when they have some sense of independence, and students do learn from making mistakes. Providing independence gives them that ability to think for themselves, to articulate their thoughts, to learn from them, and to be better as a result of it.
I think it's important for students to be able to get information about the university that isn't going through the bias of, administration trying to make the university look good. I think, it's important to have honest and unfiltered conversations about the university.
And it's a little bit hard because it is a small institution and if we have a gripe with somebody, we walk past them in the hallway every day, So it's a little bit hard in that sense, but we try our best to be unabashed, I'd say.
Yeah, there have been threats to the Chronicle from some people in administration over certain things that might have gotten published that might make the university look not the best. But most of the higher up administration, specifically President Miller, tend to be really supportive.
Faculty, different story. Coaches, different story. We had a coach straight up tell us that they don't like to be interviewed by Marlin Chronicle because of stuff that has happened in the past.
It's important to make sure that that relationship is stable while still being able to call out any situations that are not ideal for some people.
And hopefully readers are saying to them, this is what I liked or this is what I disagreed with you on. That's how maturation and learning occurs at a higher educational institution.
There's something powerful about holding a physical newspaper in your hand. The fruit of your labor. This is the truth, and it now exists in a physical space in the world. Physical newspapers in this point of age also symbolize the process that goes into print journalism. There is not the same attention that goes into something that can be published online.
I love print media. It's much more resistant to historical erasure than anything online is.
It is a really great way to save what has happened and have a physical piece of time.
In a digital space, it feels a little bit less important, but printing something out and having it sit there until the next issue gets on the stands is huge. We have to be super intentional about all of our words. Of course we would be anyways, but I think it reinforces that.
I see people walking around with them all the time. Staff walks around with them, students walk around with them. I see people reading them in the caf.
Well, I think the unavoidable demographic divide falls on age, I think. I know that faculty is often seen holding one of these, and the student body is more inclined to maybe read on social media. I think the difference is when someone is looking at it on social media, they can see every single article. They can see everything that's coming up on their feed. They can directly cater it to their interests and then click on that. They only see what's on the front page. But then again, that comes down to making the front page something that people want to learn more about.
Being physical, having our newsstands, keeps us a pillar of the community. You can walk into any building on this campus and see a Chronicle newsstand, and I think that's really important.
So if she's referring to herself, it shouldn't be capitalized, if that's her title.
Deadline night is when everything is solidified and perfected, and we make sure that every story is airtight. Deadline night is very collaborative, and there's something new every single time.
Right now, I am formatting my articles in the paper, also working on this page. This page is very close to finished.
And as of right now, my little challenge is trying to get this whole article to fit. My last sentence of this article doesn't fit.
I'm currently making the final review of the article in which we have spent the entire semester working on and trying to get right.
I am looking over the opinions document when we print them all out on a big sheet of paper, and then we have to read them and then give them back to the editors to edit onto the pages on the doc.
Insertion of bias, opinion, agenda, of any kind. We don't want any of that. Making sure that it's cohesive and that each portion transitions with a sensible flow into the next. Nothing is too jarring, and that the average reader would have enough information. In a time like this, a student newspaper means a lot more because it is the purest form of journalism. There's no possible way you could be in it for the money, fame, glory. That doesn't exist. The people who sit alongside me at this table are some of the most committed and hardworking people I've ever met. And they care what gets put out in that paper. They care what gets put out on social media. And I'm really, really thankful for how we've been well received, because the Marlin Chronicle is a really important tool to ensure that there is always an outlet for students and community members to share their truth. There's something new every single time, because, you know, once we have repeated problems are hardly even problems because we know how to deal with those. It's the new problems that make each deadline night really special. And to me, that's what it means to have a deadline night.